Hello, this is my Modern Transcendentalism Connections project, and I would like to start off by apologizing to Mrs. Hudson because I know that she hates when people just read off of screens, but that's primarily what I'm going to be doing during this presentation, so I'm sorry. The main components of Transcendentalism are nonconformity, self-reliance, free thought, confidence, and the importance of nature. And one of my examples for nonconformity was Garfield, because he doesn't care about other people's ideas of health. He doesn't stay on a diet when John would like him to. He just does what he wants. He eats as much lasagna as he wants and has a good time. So he pretty much does what he wants. My next example is the Addams Family, because they're known for being original and ghoulish, and even though others don't understand the way that they live, they still have a good time. They put family first. They don't let others not understanding them get in the way of living and being happy and just loving each other. My connections back to the readings that we read were Garfield connects to Thoreau's Walden in that he lives minimally. He toils not with the cares of the world. He keeps his affairs to as few as possible. He's kind of lazy. He just, focuses on sleep and lasagna, and that's pretty much his life, and he seems pretty happy about it. For the Addamses, I related them to Emerson's self-reliance with the quote, "Society is a conspiracy against manhood." The Addamses live by their own rules. They don't fit into their society, and yet they're happy for it, and they don't really care. One of my examples for self-reliance was Mulan, because she don't need no man, and she relies on her own skills and strengths, and she doesn't let anyone defeat her or tell her that she's not good enough. She puts her mind to something, and she does it. My next example was Mrs. Puff, because she's sweet, but she's got that edgy side, and when she finds out that SpongeBob was given a boat by his parents, after she just gave in and gave him his license even though he didn't deserve it, she took it upon herself to right her wrongs, albeit illegally, and she stole SpongeBob's boat, and she did this to help protect society and her own reputation, so she kind of rules a little bit. And my last example was Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's not a very charismatic character or such, a great guy, but he does demonstrate great work ethic, and he refuses to depend on anyone other than himself for his lifestyle and his money and all that good stuff. My connections were Mulan relates to Emerson's self-reliance because of the quote, "A man must take himself for better, for worse," and so on. This correlates to Mulan's personal philosophy. Through thick or thin, she supports herself and she does what she thinks is best. She took herself as a woman who is not legally allowed to fight in the military of China, and she did it anyways, and she didn't let anyone get in her way. For free thought, I had Fahrenheit 451, because the main character lives by the rules of his society, and when he begins to question those ideals set up by the government, he realizes how much is missing in his life. And when he begins to read and form his own thoughts about the world, he finds how important individuality is. Another example was Denny's Tumblr, because they post whatever they want. They're really weird. I want to give you a couple seconds to read these, but I only have 6 minutes and I'm at 3.5, so this is another page of their things. And my connections were Denny's Tumblr relates to Emerson's self-reliance, with the quote, "Speak your latent conviction and it shall make universal sense." And although Denny's things make sense to them, they don't really make sense to the rest of the world, but that doesn't matter. It makes sense to Denny's and it makes them happy. For Fahrenheit 451, I said it could be connected back to Emerson's self-reliance as well, in the quote, "We will be forced to take with shame our own opinion from another." And Guy, who's the main character, lives by the rules set up by the society he lives in, and when he begins to read, he has these ideas and feelings awakened in him that he had long since repressed, and were finally coming to the light again. For confidence, I had Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, and just don't mind the hair, but like the face, it's kind of Mr. Mahalik, just saying. I said that this show was all about helping students in high school feel more confident in understanding and navigating various situations of young adulthood, which can be tricky. And then my other example was The Nutty Professor, and a man that has always been self-conscious about his bigger size. He concocts a potion, to thin out his body, make himself more confident, and overall better his personality. Ultimately, this backfires as his alter ego grows a mind of his own. Through realizing that it isn't looks that are important, the man begins to accept himself and open the door to a healthier mindset. And ultimately, his biggest mistake ends up giving him the confidence he so richly lacked prior to it. My connections are, although The Nutty Professor, there are several setbacks. This movie connects to Thoreau's quote, "If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." And Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide connects to Emerson's quote, "Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string." And this quote speaks directly to being confident in one's decisions, and is what Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide is all about. Snow White connects to the importance of nature, in that she couldn't have cared for the 7 dwarfs if nature had not helped her, if animals had not come along and helped her clean and cook and all of that good stuff. And when the queen tried to kill her, although the bad part of the forest tried to kill her as well, the good part ultimately helped her to escape. And I also had Bambi, which helps illustrate the innocence and the loss thereof of nature, and it speaks to the various emotions and colors of nature and all that it can give to a person. My connections were that Bambi connects back to the tenet of importance of nature through Nature by Emerson with the quote, "Nature always wears the colors of the spirit, and although Bambi's life was touched by unfairness and tragedy, the new spring brings renewal to his spirit and happiness." And that is all. Thank you for watching my project.